Wagyu Gaming. Hey there broskies, hope you're having a wonderful day. Wagyu here and back with another Kingdom of Heroes Tactics War video. So today we're gonna be talking about the combined heroes feature of the game and who to prioritize. Alongside, we're gonna be summoning for Hildegard, okay? So my Hildegard is ready to be summoned, and oh, apologies, it's not here. It's going to be in the summon tab and in the combined section. So as you can see here, my Hildegard is ready to be combined, and if I were to take it back all over again, and I didn't summon for Astaroth first, I would have went with Hildegard first, as she's very usable in a lot of areas. But anyway, we've already started discussing about Hildegard, so let's talk about Hildegard. So she's going to be the first unit that I would personally have summoned if I knew any better at the beginning of the game, since she is going to be used in a lot of more areas than Astaroth will be. Okay, so why is Hildegard really useful? For one, the final stages of all rune dungeons, of both rune dungeons, can be tackled with water units. Okay, so Hildegard can be one of them. Like for example, Fafnir B11 is water type. Okay, so water type units there can survive longer than fire types, and they can land better hits and alongside their debuffs. So the game gives you a penalty for bringing in off element units. Like for example, in water dungeons, if you bring in fire, you're gonna be having less chances to crit, less accuracy. This is all assumptions if it works like Summoner's War, but as far as I can tell, it's the same, since if I try to bring off element units on different stages, like Thea on a fire Ifrit in Towa, my debuff keeps missing. So I'm assuming it's the same, and it's not proof to be like that, but yeah. Anyway, alongside this, she also has a leader skill which can be upgraded up to 45%, as you can see here. Like it's only 29% in the beginning, but the more you upgrade Hildegard, it gets up to 45% for water attribute units. Okay, so it increases the attack, so that's quite useful. So far, the only unit that exceeds Hildegard is, I think, Demeter in terms of attack boost. But Demeter's is dungeon focused only. Hildegard's can be used in PvP. So that's another area where Hildegard actually exceeds on PvP defense. I've heard a lot about that, but I haven't personally tried it. I've actually lost a Hildegard on PvP. Okay, so that's why I'm saying this on stream. But yeah, she's quite useful in a lot of areas, more than Astaroth can be useful. Okay, so next we have the defense break on the first skill, is why I consider her to be a better option than Astaroth. So it actually is just a normal attack. This is her normal attack. This thing doesn't have any cooldown, and if you max it out, the defense break goes up from 1 turn to 2 turns, as you can see here by level 7. So yeah, Hildegard has quite a useful kit. So alongside this, she also has the share HP, as you can see here, or share damage, and it only lasts for 2 turns, so it reduces a portion of the damage taken by the target ally and directs 50% of this damage to yourself for 2 turns. Okay, so quite useful, especially if you're trying to clear bosses. And Hildegard is a tank type unit, so she's going to have a really high HP. Let me show you guys her max HP at level 70. It's 2097 base HP. That's quite a high base HP, especially if you put on I'd say I'd put her on some Swift and Energy, or Revenge, the counter attack rune, Revenge and Energy. But yeah, let's check her reviews on what her suggested runes are. Earthquake, Life, and Vampire. Okay, so those are good options too, but I would want her to be on a tankier build. So yeah, and Life rune might do. I'm saying Energy. I'm sorry. So yeah, aside from this, she also has a provoke on her second skill, which is Icy Aura. So successful hits have a 50% chance to increase all skill cooldowns of enemies hit by 1 turn, and to provoke them for 1 turn. Okay, so quite a useful kit, and today we're gonna be summoning for her at the end of the video, since I've prepared all the materials required for her. Next on the list actually is still not Astaroth. I think I'd summon Astaroth last in this lineup, even with the 4-star unit, and we'll be including the 4-star unit in the discussion. But yeah, so next on the list is Mary. She's actually one of the better tree type units with her kit. Her kit is quite useful. Where was that? Yeah, this one. So any unit that has reduced speed, I feel that can be really useful in dungeons. Okay, so this has an action gauge reduction too, so which is really useful for dungeons. Actually, she's one of the best units to speed clear Fafnir B11. So this is a free-to-play option. I might be building her soon for the sake of our free-to-play friends here at Wagyu Gaming. So yeah, next is she also has a chance to remove a random debuff, one random debuff from enemies hit. Okay, so I think a lot of her skills are area. So let's see the target area. As you can see here, quite a big area, and this one, yeah, quite a big area as well. So she's a very AoE unit. So yeah, that's going to be quite useful. So next is her Spirit Blast. This skill, for every enemy killed with Spirit Blast, reduces cooldown of all allies by 1 turn and recovers your action gauge by 50% for every enemy killed. Okay, so if she kills 4 enemies, then it loses 4 turns of cooldown. And does that also indicate like 200% action gauge gain? So do let me know in the comment sections below if you know the answer to this, but personally I'm not sure. I haven't played with Mary, but yeah, I would be summoning for her next if I didn't summon for Astaroth. So alongside this, she has also Absorb Life Energy, which is very similar to Astaroth. Successful hits recover 20% of damage inflicted as HP. Okay, alongside this, all of these when skilled up just becomes even more OP. Especially this, like check this out. It gets to like 40% lifesteal. If you put her on Vampire, then it's basically 100% lifesteal. So if she does like 2000 attack and 2000 HP, then basically she heals almost all her HP every time she attacks. Plus it's an AoE attack, so helps a lot. Next on the list, I would say it's actually this lady here, Charlotte. Still not Astaroth. Astaroth I feel like has very limited use. Like right now I haven't been using much of her. Maybe on Towa Hard, I've been using her in some areas of Towa as well, and more on Astaroth later. So yeah, Charlotte, another free-to-play option for Fafnir B11 if you want to farm for runes. So like I mentioned before in my top 5 not 3-star video, so any unit that has a defense break alongside a action gauge reduction and a slow is always going to be useful. Okay, so any unit that has that, I believe they're going to be one of the better units in game, especially for PvE content. Okay, so where can you use Charlotte? Personally, I'm looking at her kit, and I'd say she's a very good option for Fafnir B11, and she's also a damage type, a mage type unit. Let's check the reviews on what her possible builds are. So yeah, Swift, Havoc, and Prophet. So it's basically to land they're going to try and land as much reduce enemy action gauge alongside block heals and block buffs for her. Okay, so really good unit actually. Personally, I'd build her up 3rd I mean. So yeah, I might be building her up next since she's easy to build. As you can see, she's only a 4-star unit, and the only thing she needs are 4-star units. So yeah, she's not going to be that hard to build. Okay, so let's talk about her skills. Why is she good? So she has heal block on her last skill, which beats the Fafnir B11 boss's ability to lifesteal. Alongside this, she has the block buff, so which is always welcome in bosses, and she also has, as I mentioned, a defense break and a speed debuff. If the action gauge of the enemy hit is below 50%, their defense and speed is reduced. Okay, so successful hits also reduce 15% of action gauge, which only increases as the level increases. Okay, so by the time it gets to level 4, it's going to be a 30% action gauge decrease. So last but not the least is her first skill. So this skill's damage increases when the enemy has more active debuffs. So I'd say a good F2P lineup for Fafnir B11 would be Charlotte, Thea, a F2P tank, tree tank, even a water tank will do, and probably a healer, just to let your team survive even longer. Okay, I'll be establishing soon the HP requirement. I'm slowly trying to clear it for F2P. So yeah, By the way, guys, if you didn't know, you can actually combine for heroes here. Like for example, if you want Thea, you can actually combine for Thea. Okay, if you guys didn't know about this, because I just realized this a few weeks ago, like I think 2 weeks ago, that you can actually combine for heroes here. So if you want a Thea, Thea is actually a very F2P player, character. So yeah. Last but not the least is Astaroth, since I already clicked her tab. So Astaroth is a healer type unit, and she's actually pretty fast. So personally, I built her on Swift, crit damage, crit rate, and HP. I didn't build her on attack since she was only like 5-star level 60, so I felt like she lacked HP. But if she was max level 70, I'd probably build her on attack, crit damage, and crit rate, since she's actually a very hard-hitting unit for a healer. Okay, so why is she good? She's actually pretty good still, especially for PvP and Towa. So she's actually a high damage healer, and she has this passive. So Astaroth gains crit damage by 10%, so which makes her hit even harder. If Astaroth kills an enemy, life absorbs cooldown is reduced by 1 turn. So I think life absorb is this one. So it's only a 2-turn cooldown skill, and with this skill, if she kills the enemy, it reduces even further. So successful hits grant you and all allies with continuous recovery for 1 turn. Successful crit hits grant an additional continuous recovery. If the target is killed, you grant another additional continuous recovery. So basically 3 continuous recovery, and I think it lasts for 1 turn. Yeah, so not that long, but quite useful still. So she's going to be your offensive healer, I'd say. So yeah, that's what makes Astaroth really useful. Next, she also has an increased attack and increased speed for surrounding allies, and the area is pretty decent. So very similar area to Freya's increase invincibility buff. Okay, so yeah, this is Astaroth for you. And next is she also has a life steal, recovering 40% of damage inflicted as HP. So I tried to build her on vampire crit rate, vampire havoc before, and it didn't work well for me. So because she already has a really high innate life steal on her first skill, so I tried building her on Swift Havoc, or I also tried Swift Revenge, so that she would revenge and actually recovers HP. So yeah, it was a pretty good build, and I'm still running it now until I recently took it down. So yeah, Astaroth would be 4th on our list for my priority to build in the combine section of the game. Okay, so that's it for the priority of units to combine. And yeah, some tips: you can really combine the 4-star units that you need here if you're interested to do that. So I personally, if other units, I don't have any of these units, I'd personally combine for Thea, the Towa MVP, alongside Moonspell. So Moonspell is actually a pretty good farmer and a really high damage dealing unit. And Ekaterina would also be a good option, but you can't combine for her, although you can collect guild points for her. So yeah, but this one I'm not really going to combine for anything, since they're not really that hard to find. Okay, so now that we've got that out of our way, if you do have any questions or you do have any comments, as always, do let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, today we're going to be summoning for Hildegard as well, so let's go and summon for Hildegard. Let's combine her up. As you can see, I actually did this pretty fast. It was just around within 24 hours of non-stop farming. That doesn't sound very nice, but yeah, I slept. Okay broski. So yeah, I slept and I was able to farm while I was sleeping somehow. So yeah, it was less than 24 hours for me to complete Hildegard as after the making of this video. So I only popped up a 100% EXP and not the 200% one. So I wasn't really thinking about it, as I was just looking at Black Clover and among other animes, and alongside watching YouTube videos and trying to make content for you guys. But yeah, anyway, here we go. My Kai Clopis has an upgraded skill, as I didn't have any other copies of him, but that's fine, it's only one skill upgrade anyway. Don't do that if you're F2P. Okay, so we got Hildegard now. And that's it for this video. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like, and if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. But thank you so much for tuning in, and see you in the next video.